earlier also, and again I'm saying it. Hello all. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. So I don't know. So is this MTech CRS students here? Hello. Is there any MTech CRS student?
Yes, sir.
So your class is over? Hello.
Yes.
Previous class over?
Yes, yes.
I mean, did you attend your previous class?
Sir, our previous class is over.
Who is this saying? Can you just say your name actually?
Sir, I am Subhakar.
Huh?
Subhakar. Hello.
You are Shubhakar. Okay. So you so you were there in the previous class, right?
Ah,
In MTech CRS?
yes, sir.
And it is over. Okay. But still there are very few people. Okay. Excellent. Mm. So okay. So you guys have submitted uh, your assignment and it has been corrected, right? You have all got your first assignment back, except for this problem 4.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Yeah. So you have seen your comments, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. And the assignment 1 was discussed in the class also. In Anton discussed that in class, right? And uh, just one second. Just one second. Okay, sorry. So I have been just been informed that Chantan just did the first problem, right, in class, and there will be a possibly a makeup tutorial where the other problems will be discussed in the from the assignment in the next tutorial.
Hello.
Yeah.
So, were the assignments sent to us again? I'm like to all of us?
No, so that's what I just got. So assignment marks have not been sent, but so there was comments were given for various people. So those comments have been sent. The final marks will be sent mm, by
Where are
that.
these comments
Sorry,
posted, sir? Where are these comments posted, sir?
in the classroom.
Uh,
If some comments have been made in your against your thing, then it should be in the classroom.
Oh, okay. I didn't get any.
It possibly that there is no comments for you then. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, we had some queries regarding how the assignment 1 is being graded.
Okay. Ask.
So actually, we asked to TS sir also yesterday. Actually, in the assignment questions, the question 2 and question 3, in question 3, it was clearly mentioned that we need to find an efficient algorithm. But in question 2, it was not mentioned. It was given that design an algorithm which finds that.
Yeah.
So we assume that the algorithm, whatever we are giving, it should be correct. It should work for all kind of inputs. So even if it's of n square complexity, n complexity or log n complexity, still it should be a solution for that.
Technically, you are right. but this is something that you should know, that in algorithms, whenever somebody says that I design an algorithm, and this is something that will come to you again and again and again, okay, just like sometimes it might be said design an efficient algorithm. Okay, what is the meaning of efficient? Can you tell me what is an efficient algorithm mean?
So as much less complexity as we can.
Okay, so is there any proper definition of that? What is the, how less? If somebody gives me an order n square algorithm and somebody gives me an order n algorithm, then so these are all vague terms. Okay, so basic idea of algorithms course is that, so there will be two kind of places where it will be there. Either one question will be design an algorithm whose runtime is order of this thing, so something like that, so order of log n, order of n log n, or something. That means you are asked to design an algorithm with a particular runtime. And else, if some algorithm is asked that design an give an algorithm or give an efficient algorithm, in either case the idea is that you design an algorithm and you get marks according to that. But you don't get full marks, you get some marks, of course. Any algorithm will get some marks. Okay, but if somebody comes up with a better, more efficient algorithm, that person gets more marks. It is just like in the exam, I might not say write down exactly that give a clearly written proof, but if somebody gives a clearly written proof, okay, even if that English is better, even if the presentation is better, that person gets more marks. There are certain things that are not told, right? Similarly is this situation here. Okay?
Yes, sir, I can understand, sir.
Yeah.
Just for this assignment, because
No, there is nothing like that. So just because I have not written here that explain your answers in English, one could have just given me a Hindi answer. I would have accepted. So that is not the question. There are certain things which are not told, and you actually live with it.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Second question. It was not mentioned that you have to use addition and multiplication. Last class, last class, I asked you whether I asked you a question regarding that, and you said that that we can only use multiplication and addition. So I wrote an algorithm according to that. But last day, sir, was solving that question using binary search. So when there was division by 2, I objected that such that you
Okay.
said division is not allowed. So he commented that you can multiply it by 0.5. So in that case,
Okay. So
there is
okay, so
was
maybe
ambiguity in the
I
question.
agree there might be a misunderstanding. If you have okay, so what, when I mean a multiplication and addition kind of stuff like that, it is meant that what is called a simple bit operations. Okay, division by 2 or division by a constant number, okay, a fixed constant number is always considered to be a order 1 thing. It is like a multiplication only. Division by a fixed constant, okay, or the multiplication by something is there. So square root n is something that is not one of them, and that is exactly what I meant there. Okay, now if you think that you have given an algorithm which was where you got confused because of that particular explanation of mine, that so maybe you had some ideas, and because I told that only addition and multiplication, and you did not realize that division by 2 is an allowed stuff, then I would say that okay, you can submit one more, you can send a mail in the independent to us, or maybe and let us know if that is.
I can submit that question once more, right?
Yes, you can. If that is the case that has happened, where you have not considered division by 2, because division by 2 is something that you thought is not allowed, then yeah, I let you do that.
Okay, so I will.
Sir, division by Sir, the division by 2 should be then done in by using left shift and right shift operator.
I mean, that's a order 1 notation, right? Order 1 operation. Yeah, you can do division by 2 is by a left shift or right shift. Yeah. Any other questions?
Sir, can I get one chance to update my assignment?
See, unfortunately enough, this time you cannot do that, right? I mean, in fact, like both of you guys.
Because many students have the same actually problem.
No, but that thing that you are saying, that is not something acceptable, honestly speaking. Because you are saying that, oh, because I have not written something, you can do it in some other way. That is not something that is allowed. Okay.
Sir,
Now,
we
what
actually-
happens? What happens? Somebody says that. I mean, you can keep on asking some ridiculous questions in that direction. If you had doubts, then you could have asked us. By the way, that brings us to another important question. Many of you guys have been copying from each other. Okay, and this is something that, see, I am not saying, I will not tell you don't copy. Okay, but there is the following thing. First of all, I completely encourage you guys to discuss with yourselves. I am not stopping you from discussing. I don't even stop you from looking up the internet for the solutions. I mean, that is not something I will even ask you to not do. But in fact, I will encourage that if you have any doubts about this assignments or anything, you can look it up from the internet, discuss with your friends, whatever. But at the end of the day, when you submit a solution, it has to be written by you. Okay. Now, if it is a copy paste thing, your friend has written it and you have just copied it, or at most change the name of the variables or something like that, that is not allowed. Now again, I have a simple philosophy. Okay, I am not going to go out and try to find out a solution, find out who has copied from what, because that's a way too much hard work from my side. But if I find it, okay, if me or my TS find something like that, then either you are going to get 0 out of that, or if say 5 people are copying it and the total marks that you can get there is 10 marks, all 5 of you get 2 marks each. That is completely up to me. And that if you copy one question, I am not going to, you cannot come and argue with me that, see, this question I've copied but not the other 5 questions. That is not my job. As soon as I find one question copied, that whole paper, at least that whole thing, you get either 0 or your marks get distributed. Now, of course, feel free to copy, feel free to cheat, because at the end of the day, it is not my job to make you guys understand the importance of learning things. But again, if you get caught, this is what will happen. And I can tell you that, I mean, if you have come to ISI with some hope of learning something, you better be honest. I'm not telling you not to discuss. I'm encouraging you to discuss. I'm encouraging you to go and look at the Google's, the internet and whatever. But at the end of the day, write it in your own words, please. Now, again, this is something that was not told, but as far as I understand, many of you thought that it has that is acceptable of giving identical Xerox copies of each other. So it is, so please, so remember a few things. First of all, you are always expected to write it up by yourself. Number two, you are expected to write it up in a neat and clear way, explanation, in as much better English as you can, so that it is understandable, and for the understandably clear English. I am not asking you to use flowery languages, but precise words is good enough, or clear words is good enough. Use things which are mathematically precise. Try to have your arguments mathematically solid, and always try to come up with the best solution, whatever that best means. If that means the most efficient solution, so be it. Most maybe the simplest solution, so be it. That is true for everywhere. I cannot imagine that I'm telling you these facts, but these facts are something that is there for every course, and possibly these are something that is there for your life also. When somebody asks you to do something, this is what you are expected to do. Now, if you have any questions about, if you have any doubts or questions about some assignment beforehand or anything, again, feel free to write to us, write to TAs, write to something, get it clarified. That is completely within the rights of, within your rights. And if you have any doubts, again, this is something also I encourage you guys to do, that if you want, you can ask the TAs to have extra tutorials, send us mails that, okay, this is part I'm not understanding, this part I will expect to have some more discussions. I mean, if you guys do that, we will also feel encouraged to teach. Else it will be just like a boring class that where I teach something and something comes out. I mean, I don't really care about what's going on there. Any questions?
Sir, when we are asked to give an algorithm, we are supposed to just give an algorithm, right? It's not like we'll have to give a proof of
No,
correctness.
that is also, see, that is also another thing that will be there. Okay, when I'm giving an algorithm, you are expected to give a proof of correctness and also ideally kind of an analysis of your time complexity. Now, if the algorithm is something very simple, okay, then you might avoid it, you might skip it, or just one liner is good enough. Okay, I mean, particularly as we go into more complicated ones, like things like say I'm using binary search in the middle in somewhere. You don't need to explain me what binary search is doing there. Okay, so you are supposed to, so there are two ways of giving an algorithm. One is writing a pseudocode, and other is an explanation. Okay, and both of them are something that is expected to come up. The pseudocode is the formal way of describing, and the pseudocode and the explanation kind of says that, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. And a correct explanation, a good explanation, is just a couple of lines of explanation, and that should give you the proof of the correctness also, basically, for most cases. Okay, I mean, maybe in some particular cases we will see that they will require more detailed analysis, but it's there. Okay, it is something like, so if you guys are used to writing programs, when somebody asks you to write a program, right, to solve some problem, it is not that you just write the C code or Python code. You also give comments in the between, right? That is called a good coding skill, right? You give comments so that people understand what is going on. an explanation on the proof of correctness of an algorithm is also like that. It kind of helps us to understand that what is going on there. I am not asking you to write pages after pages for that kind of proof of correctness. Yeah, so again, I mean, as soon as, so if somebody asks you to give an algorithm, ideally you should give an algorithm which is, and try to give a short explanation of which will also kind of, at least if nothing, indicate the proof of correctness of their algorithm, and also possibly the time complexity or something, number of steps.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I would like to know the efficient algorithm for third question, like given the two-dimensional array with sorted columns and sorted rows.
Okay, so there is an order log n algorithm. Okay, I mean the TS will do it. It is basically binary search once again. Think about it.
Okay, sir. Fine, sir. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So if you have no questions, let me go on to the topic of today. And we have already spent some half an hour doing nothing. So today, so till now, can you see my this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we have been doing sorting, right? And in the sorting, which all algorithms have you seen till now? Can you just kind of recollect? I mean, I forgot which all algorithms were there. There was selection sort.
Insertion sort, merge sort.
Insertion sort. Bubble sort was there.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Bubble sort.
Bubble sort, merge sort, right? Any other
Yes,
thing?
sir.
I think these 4 only, right? Good. So far we have looked at these 4 algorithms. Now in algorithms, whenever somebody design an algorithm, there are a lot of parameters that are used for understanding which algorithm is better than what. Okay, so there are, for example, for sorting, can you just say what all things can you imagine will be useful for understanding which algorithm is better? What all properties of a good algorithm should have?
Lower time
Less
problem.
Take
time
minimum number
complexity.
of steps.
Worst
Yes.
case.
Okay, so number 1 is the minimum number of steps, or time complexity is called. Okay.
And space complexity.
Hmm?
Space complexity.
Okay, but before I go to space complexity, maybe I'll just say a little bit of okay. So the space complexity, somebody has already told, so I'm writing it. Okay, in space complexity, the idea is that how much of extra space is required. So you of course have an n-bit n length array which you sort, and the goal is to, I mean, do I need to have a lot of extra space? Do I need that? For example, in merge sort, I will need a completely new list, an empty space, right? But again, before I go back further, in time complexity also, one of them is the kind of worst case time complexity, what we called as worst case runtime, right? But one can also have the best case, and one can also have the average case. All of them are valid measurements of the complexity of a algorithm, right? Okay. You are saying something else? Somebody was saying something else?
Sir, you mentioned
Sir,
that
implementation
Markshot,
complexity.
Okay, implementation of what?
I mean, if some algorithm is difficult to implement,
Okay.
but that application is not going to receive a lot of
Yeah.
big array,
Very,
so we
very
can
much
use simpler algorithm.
easy to implement. Okay. Somebody was saying something about merge sort. Whoever, who are,
so you mentioned that Markshot, like that is about the space complexity.
Hmm.
We can have that we can have that in-place Markshot algorithm, right?
do you know
In
that
that case.
algorithm?
No, sir. You said that you will teach us.
Okay. Yeah. I'll come to that. Any other properties?
Stable sorting.
So good. So something called a stable sorting. So what is stable sorting? So stability. So the main idea of stability is that, say I have, so how many of you have used Excel in your life? None of you have used Excel sheets in your life?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we have used.
Excellent. So if you have used Excel sheet in your life, then you know that you can sort these sheets when you have lots of marks and all based on one column, right? According to column 1, sort it. Then you sort according to column 2, right? But the idea is that once you sort along the column 2, if there are 5 items which are identical in column 2, right? Then within those items, you sort them according to the column 1, or you leave it as it was earlier, right? So say, or something like, say, if I have this number, say A, B, C, D, B, B, A, say if I sort them out according to the first, say if I first sort them according to the first thing, then you see that it is already sorted, right? First, so according to basically this set, right? So these are all words. I've sorted them according to this first letter, and these are already sorted. But now if I sort them according to this second one, then there are a lot of possibilities. Then what do I know? I know that AA should be before BB. Okay, excellent. So maybe something like this one. Say first I have CAD, then I have BAD, then I have ABC, and then the BBA. Good. So see, this is the sorting of this set according to the second bit, second letter. Perfect. But the problem is that here, this one was before, after this one. So in these two things where both of them are B, this one was appearing after this one, and here also it is appearing after this one. Okay, that's good. So this means that it is stable. So if I think of it, this one was higher rank than this. Here also it is higher rank than this. But if you look at here, in this one, in the A, the BAD was higher rank than CAD, but here it has flipped. And so that means I have not kind of, so this has gone here and this has gone here. I have flipped here, although these two, so this is not a stable sorting. Instead, if I had this one, say BAD, CAD, okay, in that case, it would be a stable sorting, because in that case, I know that, okay, here BAD is above CAD and it is same thing over here. So this is called stability. Stable sorting is something that preserves, so among the set of items, that have same value, it preserves the previous order, whatever order that it had initially. Is this clear?
So, why does it matter?
Sorry?
Like why do we have to consider?
I am unable to hear you. Sorry. Terry, can you just maybe type your stuff there or something?
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
I'm asking, why does it matter? Like, to consider if it's a stable sort or not?
How do you check if it's a stable sort? No, I mean, can you, is anybody else understanding what he's saying? I can only hear part of what is coming out.
Sir, I guess he may be saying that what is the, like, why are we doing this? What is the importance of, or what is the added advantage of this table sort?
Oh,
Maybe like
exactly, exactly how it happens in the case of, say, in like dictionary, right? In dictionary, it is a stable sorting, right? What is, how do you sort? If I give you a set of numbers or a set of words, and I ask you to sort it in the dictionary order, how will you do it?
But sir, in that case, we consider the first letter also.
Yes, we will consider, but we have to go in the opposite direction.
In the video that I just saw earlier, it was different from what you said here.
Okay, what was that?
Like in ABC will appear the first number, but that BBA that you are that is in the second position, and BAD, what is it, that is in third position. So after stable sort, BBA still will appear in the second position, not BAD. That is what I learned, I think.
No, so what you are saying is, see, it's the ordering of how you are sorting it. It's the
like
ordering
now
in
here-
which how we are sorting it. For example, in the case of, okay, I mean,
The
so
first
if I
letter
give
you
you
are-
this, hold on, if I give you this set of words, okay, and I ask you sort them in the dictionary order, how will you do it?
Dictionary are ABC, BAD, BBA, and then CAD.
I am not asking you to just tell me what is the dictionary order. I'm asking how will you sort it?
From the first letter, I'll just check the first letter of each string,
Okay,
and
and
we'll
then?
arrange them, and then again I'll check the second letter.
So that is not how you do it, right? You'll first take the first letter, and then you will. Okay, go ahead. Tell me. First letter will check. It's fine.
First,
and then
so
you will.
Then you'll check the second letter, but in the second letter,
Yeah. You will try to ensure that the first letter is same and so on.
Yes,
That
yes.
is not how sorting happens, my dear. Then that is a lot of
Then
sorting. That is a lot of algorithms will be required. Because then you have to partition them into chunks and according to sort.
But the example given in the video is different.
But I don't know what example you are looking at. What video are you looking at?
That video that you uploaded in the classroom, that YouTube.
Okay. So here how you sort there is you first sort this one. Once you sort the last one, what do you get? You sort the last one and you get here, okay, sorry, BBA, then you get ABC, then you get BAD, then you get CAD. Okay. Now you sort the second last one. And then what you get, and this is where it is important, okay? Then it is important. Here, if I sort it, I know that now AA has to go above BB. A is above B rather. Okay. But see, now there are these two ways. I could have written here. Ideally, I would have. So here, there are two things. I am sorting here, right? So in the last column, in the previous column, it will be something like A, B, B. I know that. This is the middle column. And the end column, what will it be? How will you fill it up? Okay. So here it doesn't, yeah, but here it also, so here it also doesn't matter that much. So A, and doesn't matter what you do here, B, C. But look at here in the same, in the B setting. Now here, if you are using a stable sorting, the idea is that this, I am sorting according to this set. Okay. Now in this, these two are same. These two are same, which means that according to this sorting idea, these two strings are in the same location, same importance rather. Okay. But I will maintain their relative position exactly what was initially I got, which is I will have BBA above ABC. Now, if it is not stable, then I have no guarantee that these two will remain. These two might have flipped. Okay. In a stable sorting, this is what will happen. This is stable sorting. Okay. And now finally, you do the last one, and when you do the last one, then you sort it according to this last phase. It will be therefore A, B, B, C. Now A is there, of course, A, B, C. Now BB, there's two BB, right? And of course, I will maintain, although in this saying these two are both in same BB, but I will maintain the relative ordering, which means I will have BAD over BBA, and then finally I will have CAD. And this is the dictionary ordering. So in a dictionary ordering, you start from the last bit. You don't go and you start from the last one, then sort, then you sort the next one, then you sort the and slowly you move from right to left. And it works because it is stable sorting. Because when I am sorting the second column based on the second column, at that time I am maintaining the relative ordering, because already I have, the idea is that I have already kind of sorted the words according to the third column. Is this clear? Whatever, what's the name of Sucharit, right? Suratit.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it clear?
Sir, I got more confused. No, I have to see that lecture again, because now I got a bit confused. Like, now I understood what I saw in that lecture. According to that video, this example that you have given, that BBA and BAD, after stable sort, BBA still will appear in the first place and BAD will appear in the second. That is what I understood. Now what you said, I have to think it a little bit, then I'll be
Okay,
able
fine.
to.
Think about it. Yeah, so this is stable sort. The idea is that once you, after you sort it, the among the things that have same weight, so they are equal, you maintain the relative ordering. Okay, so this is the, say, the another property, stability, right?
Sir, why
Yeah.
like maintaining the relative order is so important to us?
Again, just now as I told you, if you don't do a maintaining the relative order, in certain cases, you want to say, okay, let me try to explain it to you, please. Say in an Excel sheet, okay, let me just tell you that here is an Excel sheet. Okay, here are the names, here are the courses, here are the marks, here are the semesters. Now say No, courses, I mean, sorry. The batches rather. Batches, then the semester, and then I have the marks. You understand this thing? That the person A is a BStat third year student, and in the fourth semester, and he has got say marks, meaning I say let's look at a CGP or something like that. Okay, he has got 9.7. Then person, so A1, the A2, he is in B1 and he is in the first semester. He has got something, say 7.9. And the person A3, he is also in the first semester. He has got 7.8. Then I have A4, again in B3 in the fourth semester, has got say 8.9, and so on and so forth. Okay, now you want to sort. Have you used this kind of a data ever? When you have a data and there are various things, right? So now
Yes, sir.
how I want is, okay, it's a very natural thing that I want to know I want it to be arranged in a way in which all the students of first year BStat should be first. Then comes second year BStat, then third year BStat, then fourth year BStat, and so on. Among the first year BStat, I want the persons with the highest CGPA first. So order them in the decreasing order. And among the highest CGPA kind of stuff like that, I want if the two people who have got the same CGPA, I want to rank them according to, I want to order them according to their name or something. How will you do that?
Initially, we will sort based on the batches column.
Yes.
And
okay,
then
you first sort based on the batches column, then
batches column, and then if I go to marks, then I will
okay, this is not how we'll do it. If you sort based on the batches column, the first you will get, you will get something like this one. Okay, so the B1 and so on, then B3 and so on. So this person get 9.7, this one 7.9 and so on, and this one say 9.8. And now if you sort, this is what after you have sorted according to here. Now if I sort it now on the marks thing, then this person will go much higher, and again your batches are completely off.
Yes, sir. Like I got stuck there only.
Yeah. So now what will you do? Tell me. Use your, forget algorithm. This is like a very simple basic question that I'm asking.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
May I try?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. According to the semester.
Okay. Whatever if you somewhere
Okay.
semester.
Okay. So according to semester, A2 B1 7.9. This would come up.
I am not
then-
asking you to what is the final answer. That is not. This is an example. I don't understand this whole thing. You are understanding this. I mean, this is just an example that is there. You have to give the information to this Excel to say that, okay, sort this column. Then all you are allowed to do is this following: sort according to column something. Then second is sort according to column something.
So basically, so A2 will appear, that second row would appear the first before a third row. If I arrange them in say according to the semester column.
Okay, first year. So you are saying that you will first arrange in semester column. Okay, very good.
Okay, so the say according to semester column.
So maybe I will just give you this. Say this might help you. Okay, so let me just. So this is the column A, B, C, D. You're first sorting according to column C. Now?
Yes. See, so in that case, second row will still appear in the second position.
Again, this rows are
I
just
mean to
examples.
I mean to say that second row.
What
that,
will you be the next one?
Next row would be that A3B11 7.8.
I'm not saying next row. If you are sorting, what will be the next sorting thing? What will be here? Surajit, I don't think you are understanding the whole concept. Have you used the Excel
Maybe.
sheet before?
Yes, yes,
Okay. So in Excel sheets, what do? You just give orders, right?
yes.
First sort this column. Okay. Then sort that column and so on. And at the end of the day, you expect to see the Excel sheet organized in a particular way.
So if I sort according to C column, then only that C column will be sorted, right? And
Yeah.
rest of the thing will be just as it is.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, no. No. Of course not. Then that is a completely gone case. If you sort it according to just C column, I mean, if you sort the whole thing according to C column, right?
Yes.
What? Yes. I mean, this
I mean
whole
to say,
thing,
whole thing.
These are the items. There are 4
Yes.
items here, and you sort according to this C.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm getting confused. I thought that A2B11 7.9 this will appear first, and then A3B11 7.8, and then rest of the.
Yeah, that will come up first. That I agree. Then after that,
that will be the result.
Oh God. Okay.
I did not understand.
No, you of course didn't understand. How do I explain you? What about this one? Say, let's see. Even for that thing. After that, what will you do? What do you do? Surajit, or maybe this is something that I'm telling to many people possibly. When I'm asking an algorithm, you are supposed to give me an algorithm that is generic. That algorithm should not be specific for a particular example. Okay.
Sir, I don't know.
Any other person who want to take a shot at this?
You can sort column D first on descending order.
Right. So you first column the marks. Okay. Once you sort column marks, what do you have? Okay. Okay. So once you have these marks, the marks in the marks column, everything has been completely been organized in a descending order, right? So 9.9, 9.7, 9.7, 9.6, and so on. It goes down like that. Good. Now, okay. Now the next one you do is which one? So by the way, at this point, if you look at the batches, so forget semesters, okay? If you look at the batches can have been completely been mixed up. So maybe this is B3, then this is B1, maybe this is say B2, this is B3 again, and so on. And then the names are also, of course, in some order, and it's completely mixed, right? The next thing you do, this is, so you start with therefore sorting it based on the column D. Next, you sort it based on column B in terms of batches. And here you see the stability part. When you sort, what will happen? Can somebody tell me what will happen? So Pallavi, since you had asked me, can you tell me what will happen?
Yes, sir. Like when the B1 batches will come up, the corresponding, like the rows have already been sorted with respect to marks. So the descending order will, like, it won't get affected. So I will sort batch in ascending order actually. Yeah.
Yeah, ascending or descending doesn't matter, right? So once you do it, so this will get sorted, the batches will get sorted. So you will have something like B1, 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 then B3, B2, 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 and so on, right?
Yes, yes.
But along with that, the marks will also be get swapped, right?
Yes.
Now, what will be the marks be? Is this a possible order that can happen? Maybe this can be a 7.6, this is 7.9, this is 9.7, 9.7, 9.6. Is this possible?
No, sir. I guess the row with 9.7 will come up.
Why?
And, because
I
earlier,
have just sorted with this batch. That's it. So this is
Yeah,
a valid sorting.
yeah, but before that we had sorted it based on the marks column
Because
in
if
descending
we
order.
already we have sorted based on marks, so that
Yes.
the previous one, it must have been that it is not this. It must have been 9.7, 7.9, 7.6.
Yes, sir.
Must have already have been sorted in this order. I mean,
Yes,
if
sir.
you just in the previous one, if you have just looked at this three was spread across all over the place. But
Yes.
their relative order was this. Right? Just their relative order. And because if we use a stable sort here, the relative order here remains same as previous one, which is order.
Yes, sir. Now I get it.
Now you see this relative order importance of relative order coming up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. By the way, I should also say that if
But
we were
anyway,
interested in, sorry. Yeah.
But anyway, if we sort the column D, in that case, after sorting C, column C, it will not affect, right? Because we already sorted column D, so 9.7 will appear. So in that row, whatever it is in the C column, that will remain fixed.
In this example.
Do you get my point, sir?
No, I don't.
Yes, in this example. Not
Yes,
only
but
this example.
Always all examples? What about 9.8?
Yes, 9.7, 9.8. So if we sort first this row, this column, then 9.8 will appear first. So if 9.8 appear first, so again if I sort the column number C, then in that case, like first we sorted the column number D. In that case, every other elements from A, B, C has just swapped it out. So that means in that case,
are you claiming that here if I sort it by column D and then I sort it by column C, it will remain same?
Yes.
Okay, if I sort it by column C, let me use a different color and maybe this is helpful. If I sort it by column D, which will be the rank first? This one, right?
9.8. Yes.
Then this
then
one.
9.7. Yes.
Then
8.9.
Then this one. Okay. Now if I sort it by according to column C.
So my question is here, after we sorted it out, so in that case, that column C has it this column will automatically be swapped out, swapped, right?
They'll be swapped, yeah.
So basically, in 9.8, that is in column D, that will appear first. So in that case, the list of C, the number in the column C will appear like 1 first. It will be swapped.
Yeah, I understand. This is 1.
Then
this is 2. This is 3. This is 4. Do you think this is the right order for C?
Yes. So as we so the only confusion will remain in column number that element of 4 and 1. Here we will have only same order. Is my mouse pointer showing?
No. Your mouse pointer will
Okay,
not be
so
showing. But I mean, I don't understand what you're saying. The C, once you sort D, this column C is not sorted. Are you trying to convince me that if you sort column D, then column C will also be sorted?
No.
Then
I am saying that if I already sort column D, then if I try to sort C, it doesn't work.
What
Because
doesn't work? You can of course sort. What doesn't work?
it will still appear that 1 will appear in the first, in the second column, in the third column. Okay, sir, I'm not getting it. I'll just see it again and I'll ask the question in the next class.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, maybe either you are confused with this video that we have seen beforehand, or something basic is missing. Okay, let's take it offline. This your doubt over here. But for the rest of you, is the stability concept clear?
Yes, sir.
So you see that importance of stability at some point. Not always, but in certain cases, stability is a useful thing to have. Particularly when we do something like a vector sorting, like a word sorting or something like that. Yeah. Hello.
Sir,
Sorry.
Sir, what was that name of the sorting you said just now after vector sorting?
No, just vector sorting, or the alpha word sorting. So when you sort a set of words according to a dictionary ordering.
Oh, word sorting. Okay.
Table.
Okay. Or sorting like this, like they're all kind of. So this is exactly where you need stability. Okay. So these are the some of the criteria that are there that is useful to keep in mind. There are other issues also, but let's not really worry about it. Okay. So now we need to understand all these various sortings have. I mean, so now don't have only single parameter, like right? It's not like we can compare all the sorting algorithms based on the worst case time complexity. Every different sorting algorithm might have different parameters for all these 4, or actually more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 criteria. Okay. So till now, you have seen mostly the concept of. So let's start with something. Let's start with merge sort. Let's see whether we can do certain things. What do you think merge sort is? What is the worst case runtime? This is something you know, right? Worst case time complexity. What is the best case time complexity? What is the average case time complexity? These are the things that we have already seen in our previous class. Then there is this space complexity. Then okay, then there is the stability, and then there is this efficiency. Actually, there is one more thing about. Sorry. Hello. Yeah. So other than this efficiency and all, there's one more thing that is sometimes used. Actually, this is useful in the real life a lot, which is called simplicity. Now, what is simplicity? So this efficiency, how easy is it to implement is a very much of a technical stuff, right? How easy one can implement it. For example, merge sort is a very easy to implement because it has a recursive call, right? You take these two halves, you sort them recursively, and you merge. It is a very simple algorithm to implement. If you write the implementational aspect, is just a 3-line thing. Okay, but surprisingly, try to explain that merge sort to some of your friends who are not in computer science, and you'll realize that they will be kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Whereas something like maybe a bubble sort is very, very simple to explain. Bubble sort is, oh, find out the highest point and highest thing and keep it on top, and then find out the next highest and keep it there, and so on and so forth, right? Or insertion sort, very easy to explain. Now, these are the properties of any code or any algorithm has these properties. Okay, not only just sorting, but also the other stuff, any other algorithms that will be there. Okay, so simplicity. So all of these aspects have to be taken into account when choosing which algorithm to, say or do or something like that, use. So maybe can I just ask you guys, can you just help me to fill up this thing? So what is the worst case time complexity of merge sort?
So n log n.
It is n log n, right? What about the best case time complexity?
N log n itself.
Okay, again it's n log n. What about the average case time complexity?
Yeah, n log n.
It's also n log n. Actually, this is not hard to see because it's the best and worst is n log n, then it is n log n. Any doubts so far? What is the space complexity? How much?
2n, because we need an extra array.
We need an extra array, right? So why do you say 2n? Why not n?
N is the initial, n is the size of the initial array given to me, and n elements, and extra I need one other array of the same size, that's why.
Right, okay, good. So it is not, so we don't count the initial array, okay, because the initial array anyways is given to everybody, right? So
okay, yeah, extra space is n.
Extra space is n, okay. For yeah, so let's leave it with n, maybe. What about stability? Do you think merge sort is stable?
And we can probably make it stable by giving a logic if both while merging, if both the elements are same, then copy the left element.
When okay, good, yeah. So the stability comes in exactly when there is some clash, right? When you break it up into these two parts in the merge sort, when you are breaking up into this left and right half and sorting them recursively, there is no problem with the stability. Only at the time of merging, the stability might come in the picture. Okay. Now I know that in the stability, in the merging case, there is the left one and the right one, right? And the idea is that the left should always come before the right, if possible. So every time I'm comparing 2 points, right? You remember this in the merging thing, there's this 2 pointers pointing to 2 different locations, and we're slowly moving them from left to right. When we are comparing these two, at that time, we have find out if we find both of them are equal, in that case we will just put the one which is on the left thing and move on. And if we do that, then we have a stable algorithm. Because you just recall that will ensure that all the points that are on the left hand side, so I have say 5 points on the left hand side and 6 points on the right hand side, they're all equal. It will happen that the left hand side points will come before the 6 elements on the right, and also and even within itself also. So are you convinced about the stability? Any questions about that? Okay, so good. So what about this implementation issue? Now, this is something that you can take it into, I mean, these are of course things that are not formally quantifiable, right? But in terms of vaguely implementation efficiency, we can think of it as an easy implementation. And the simplicity problem is that although it is simple to our eyes, from a mathematician's point of view, a recursive algorithm is a very simple thing. But from a non-mathematical person, maybe it is not that simple. I don't know. So these are like this non-quantifiable objects kind of stuff. What do you guys think? Is it simple or not? Hello?
Not simple, sir.
Not simple? Okay, good. So since rest of you are not answering, so neither you have gone to sleep or you find it to be, I don't know what. So maybe not. So like this, we can look at various places. Now, let's see. So what is the ideal thing that we can hope for? What do you think is the ideal thing? Maybe I should use a different color. What is the best sorting algorithm one can think for? Best sorting algorithm, what can it be? Can somebody tell me what is the best sorting algorithm? I mean, not the best sorting algorithm. What is the best that you can hope for? What can be the worst case runtime, time complexity? How low can you expect to be get?
Should be like n log n for each case, as it couldn't be much better. And the space complexity, it should be like in place. So that would be better.
So, okay. So first of all, worst case time complexity cannot be better than this. Okay. So this is the best that one can think of.
Yeah. Base case time complexity can be better for
Base case time complexity can indeed be better. So for example, if I give us merge sort, a completely sorted array, in that case, that algorithm will still take n log n time. And that's boring, right? It should not be. So the base case should be order n, not order 1, because at the end of the day, it has to look at all the inputs, right? If an algorithm doesn't even look at all the inputs, then it's completely, it cannot even tell that whether it is sorted or not. The average case, okay, now I leave it to you to think about this average case. Think about it. Can the average case be, what do you think the average case can be? Can it be order n? Can it be order n log n? It has to be order omega n log n. By the way, this reminds me of why this one is n log n. Do you guys, it was done in the last class, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Was it understandable?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Everybody followed it? No questions about that, of the n log n lower bound? Okay, in that case, let me ask some people. Subhakar, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, what is the average case time complexity? What what is the best average case time complexity you can hope to get of a sorting algorithm?
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Average case time complexity for sorting algorithm.
Yeah.
In log n.
N log n. Why?
Yeah.
Can't you do better? Can you do better?
Yes, we can do better. Actually, best.
Hmm?
Sir, is there anything between n and n log n?
There's a lot of things between n and n log n. What do you mean?
So, for example, I mean,
N log n, n square root log n, n cube root log n. I mean, was this a question really? Okay. Somebody else? Tanmoy Shatra? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you tell me the average case time complexity of the best average case time complexity of a sorting algorithm? What can it be?
I think less than in log n.
It should be less than n log n.
Yes, sir.
How many people think that it is less than n log n?
Sir, I think it is n log n. It cannot be less than n log n.
Okay. Why?
Because the worst case time complexity cannot be less than n log n.
Right.
So in that case, whatever the best case time complexity is, it will be still order of n log n, like at the least.
The best case time complexity, of course, can be order n.
Order of n, yes, but so the average case cannot be less than n log n. In that
Why
case.
not? I don't get it.
Because order of n log n and
The average of order of n log n and order of n is n log n.
yes,
Half of n log n. Is that what you're trying to say? The worst case meaning how many possible inputs are there? How many possible kind of inputs are there? For a sorting algorithm, how many possible kind of inputs are there?
If I have 32-bit system,
Okay.
then my input is 2 to the power 32. Choose n.
32-bit system, I don't understand why do you want to go for bits and all. I'm not talking about any particular computer. Okay. I have a sorting algorithm that takes in, I have a sorting algorithm, okay?
बाइनरी सर्च के लिए पूछा
Sorting.
सॉर्टिंग के लिए बाइनरी सर्च क्यों बोला था
You have a sorting algorithm and it has an input. Okay, the input is a n-bit array. How many different possible things are there? Inputs are there.
n factorial.
n factorial
It is at most, and it is exactly n factorial, right? Why? Because I mean, other than this ordering, it doesn't matter. So 1, 2, 3 input for sorting is same as 4, 5, 6. Is same as 7, 99, and 100. Because from the point of view of sorting, it is just looking at comparison of all of them. So all of these things are kind of the same kind of input. But ordering matters. 1, 2, 3 is different from 3, 2, 1 is different from 1, 1, 3, 2 and so on. So there are n factorial possible sorting, right? So there are n factorial possibilities, possible input And what does the worst case mean? Worst case means that there exists an input among these n factorial possibilities such that the algorithm takes say omega n log n to sort that input. So one out of this n factorial possibility, at least one out of the n factorial possibility takes n log n steps to solve. That is worst case. What is the best case? That at least one of the n factorial possibility takes order n steps. So you just cannot take an average because it is a weighted, it's like there are n factorial possibilities. So if I just say write down all the possibilities, okay, so possibilities are say p1, p2 till pn factorial, I know that the time taken for, so there exists an I such that the time taken for this one is n log n. And I also know that there exists a j such the time taken for it is order n. That doesn't mean that average of them is half of this two. Average can be anywhere. Is this clear?
Can it be less than n log n?
I'm asking you, but your argument doesn't work.
My argument, like the base case could be order of 1 also.
No.
So I consider
base case cannot be order of 1.
Base case cannot be order of 1.
No. See, the important thing is that the sorting algorithm always gives correct answer for everything. This is important. The sorting algorithm, what I mean is that this is an algorithm that gives the correct answer. It doesn't just say some random crap, right? An algorithm that just looks at order 1 number of points, I claim that I can make it to make a mistake. It cannot always guarantee correct outcome.
Sir, if we have a sorted array and only one element in that is incorrectly sorted, so it will still take n log n, right? To get it in correct place.
That is not necessarily. It depends upon the algorithm.
Yeah.
It depends upon the algorithm, right? It can take n plus log n steps, right? It can take one. It can find out which one is in wrongly sorted in order n steps, and order log n steps. It can find out where the correct position is, right?
Right. Yes.
So just n plus log n, there is an algorithm that can do that. Okay, so if you guys have understood what Sayantan had presented last class, I want you guys to go and try out this problem.
Sir, is this because the number of comparisons in the decision tree model is itself in omega of log n, n log n? So the average case time complexity from there I can think of that it is omega of n log n, and also in this case it as there exists one, I mean the sorted array which gives a base time complex, I mean the time complexity of order n, then it must be like omega of n log n, the average time complexity.
I didn't get your second argument, I must say.
Okay, in this one, I mean the distribution of I mean the set of all the input strings, there exists one string which can be in sorted manner. So while sorting that, it won't take I mean it will take order of n time complexity,
right?
So the average time complexity must be less than n log n, I mean omega of n log n.
Why? I mean, I'm not able to connect these two. You're saying that there is the best case time complexity is order n, Therefore, the average case time complexity
No,
is
no, no, not
omega n log n.
basically. I mean, for one string, I mean one list, it is less than n log n. I mean, if all the lists are having n log n, then the average will have n log n. But one list will
Oh,
have.
it will be less than n log n.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Less than n log n. That I completely agree. But I'm saying is that it will be less than n log n, but it will be bigger than. So I will tell you. Okay, proof that the average case time complexity is also omega n log n. Okay, actually it will be n log n by 2. You can prove.
Okay.
Okay, so proof. This is a problem. Okay, I will give you as an assignment for the next class, next assignment.
Okay.
Okay.
And also, sir, I had one question. Like, the average time complexity is like expected time complexity when input is uniform distributed.
You can think of it. Yeah, you can think of it this way.
Okay.
Okay. Now, space complexity. Space complexity can be order 1, and we have seen that kind of examples, right? For example, bubble sort, selection sort. They don't use any extra space. Now, okay, they use some extra space, but usually order 1 people, you can think of it as a what is called a O tilde 1, or which basically means that it is kind of order of log n number of steps. Now, why do we need order log n? The order log n is mostly for bookkeeping kind of stuff. Like say in the bubble sort, you have the index, right? Oh, as I goes from 1 to n. Now, how much space do you need to store that I? That I is a index, right? It has to be stored somewhere, and it is pointing out to be from 1 to n. So that I requires some login bits to store. Okay.
Sir, why I is just an index like low and high. There are two indexes that has to be stored.
Yes.
For that we just need two spaces. No? Why login?
Okay, so it's like login bits. Say, I mean, if I have a, I mean, it's not a number, right? If you think of it as a number,
Okay,
then
okay.
yeah, it is a one number only. Okay. So that's why people don't really discuss too much about these two things. But it's like basically idea is that other than that kind of a bookkeeping stuff, everything you don't need anything else. That's what it means. Okay. Of course. Now I want this stability to be yes, efficiency to be easy, and simplicity to be easy. This is the best that we can hope for. Okay. Now, let me start with, so till now, look at this merge sort thing. The one important place where it is missing is in this n factor, right? In the space complexity. Now, can we improve the space complexity while maintaining this worst case runtime, or at least have, I mean, some kind of stuff like that here? How do you do that? That is the next question that would like to answer. So, by the way, any questions from so far? So we have seen some of the sorting algorithms. We have seen these are the parameters through which we can estimate our importance of that algorithm, sorting algorithm. And we have, and from now on, we will look at least 2 more sorting algorithms, this kind of sorting algorithms, in which we will try to improve this set of stuff. Okay. Now, first thing that let's do is try to, can we somehow use a merge sort kind of technique and reduce space complexity?
We can use in place.
Yeah, tell me what is the in-place algorithm.
If we don't need any extra space, if we
Yeah,
just
yeah, explain me
use,
that. Explain that algorithm.
if we swap in the same array that we have used for storing all the elements. For example, for example, bubble sort. Okay, we just
Can you
compare.
make merge sort into in-place? You know the algorithm.
I think no, I don't know, but
Yeah,
I think it is
then
possible.
think about it. Just because I had told once doesn't mean that you have to.
Yes,
think that you know a whole thing. I'm asking you to think.
Okay.
Okay, let's think about where in the merge sort algorithm is the space complexity required. So the space complexity is required where? So we have this merge sort. We want to sort this array. We split up into two parts, the left and right. Right? We sort this array, then we sort this array, and then so we do that sort left, we do sort right, and then we do merge the left and right. Now this is good, but it is this merge thing that takes the extra time space. So that's a problem. Now, do we need merge? Can we do something else there? What happens if I somehow had found a particular number which is sitting right in the middle? So what happens if I instead do the following thing? I have this array, okay? I find an element A and split the array into less than or equal to A and more than A. So say I split it up into this part. This is less than or equal to A and this is more than. So A is somewhere sitting over here. So now this also splits into two parts in some sense. I can think of it to be the left and think of it to be the right. But now note that if I now somehow manage to sort the left and sort the right, then am I done?
No.
Why not?
Is just concatenating will give the sorted array.
We will be done because this one will become sorted and they're all less than A. Then I have A and then everything which will be more than A has also been sorted and will be done. And there's no merging required.
So what was the difference in the earlier case that we saw
In
in
the earlier case, we just split it up right in the middle. We didn't even think of any element and all. Here we are taking an element and splitting the set up into two parts. One is less than A and one is more than A. Less than equal to A and more than equal to A.
Yes, yes.
Oh, so if we do this one, then we have space complexity disappears, right? Space complexity is just, it is order 1. But what about time complexity? What about time complexity? So how did we do the time complexity for the case of merging, of merge sort. The time complexity was T of n if this whole thing was of size n, which we told okay, then this part, to sort this left part, you need T of n by 2. This one also take T of n by 2. So this 2 times T of n by 2 plus the merging was taking order n, right? And this one, when we kind of solved it, we got this to be equals to n log n. What happens here? Can somebody help me out?
Sir, here also the recurrence will be same only, like for left, if we assume that A is in the half, like in the middle.
Who told you that?
Oh no, yeah.
Very good point. So problem is that, what is it that we can talk about? So T of n, this will be, so if I say this to be equals to k, and this is equals to say n minus k, maybe n minus 1 minus k, but that's fine. So this is T of k plus T of n minus k. And why do I need order n? I don't need merging, but even to split it up to start with, I will need to go through this array once completely to find out which things are less than a and which are more than a. So this will be order n also. So this is the thing. Okay. But what is k? K is some number that I don't have any control of. And in the worst case, k can be even 1, right? In the worst setting, k can be 1, which means that T of n can be just T of 1 plus T of n minus 1 plus order n. So what is k equals to worst case meaning? Meaning I have picked up this A, right? I have picked up this A, but this A turned out to be the smallest number. So when I split it up into less than A and greater than A was at the end here and everything else was after that. So that did not reduce the size as such of the array. Oh, that is bad. So if that is the case, in that case, T of n becomes, actually if you do the calculation, you get an order n square. Now this is something not very good. But as you guys already kind of possibly see, understanding it, that what is the chance that A is at the smallest one? So that also brings us the case, what is A? Which A? Which element? I've told that find an element. How do I find an element?
So randomly select them.
So one option is that you can randomly select one. Okay, you can just go to a random place and select one. The other option is that pick the first element only. There are many things you can do, right? Take the first element A and then split. Okay, but you understand that if you pick up randomly particularly, then what is the chance that A will be right at the end? Kind of intuitively you think that A should kind of split it up in the middle. And even if you pick up A, first element A, then on average, A should also again split up into half. So that means you expect here that while the worst case time complexity is high, the average case or the randomized Now, what is randomized? Now, I see I have already used the word, I've already used a probability thing, right? Because algorithm can be like, okay, pick a random A and then split it up into two parts and then go ahead. So in that case, we can talk about what a randomized time complexity is and the average time complexity also. So you expect them to be low. You expect them to be low. But how low? So by the way, I will stop here today. I will not discuss this thing. I will upload 2 slides on the web page, which will have a kind of a discussion on these 2 things. If you guys are comfortable in probability, please go and have a look at it, and you'll see it's a beautiful kind of calculation that is there. By the way, this algorithm that I just now described here is what is known as the quicksort. So there was the merge sort, and this is called the quicksort algorithm. The quicksort algorithm is you pick an A, split up into 2 parts of less than or equal to A and greater than A, and then sort the left hand side and the right hand side. It had space order 1. It has worst case time complexity bad, but its average randomized time complexity will be as good as n log n. Okay, and its best case turn time is also best case will also be order n, but best case is that, don't worry about the best case thing. So the important thing that we will understand is that here, look at this expression. This expression, when k was equals to n over 2, this gave us the merge sort thing, right? And that was giving me n log n. When k equals to 1, then this is giving me just n square. What happens if k equals to, say, something close to n over 2, say 3n over 4 or something? Then what is it? Now convince yourself that if k is somewhere is a constant of n, say n into 3/4, or sorry, it will be less than n into 1/4 or n into 1/3 or something like that, any of them, in that case t of n will be also order n log n. Okay, so this is something that you have to go and view it. Please, I mean, I cannot emphasize it further that please go and think a little bit, particularly for people who have not seen this kind of arguments before. Please go and try to go over it once. This merge sort and quick sort are something very important concepts, and it will also help you to understand this algorithmic aspects of it. Okay. We will go into this. I mean, I will possibly spend some time on the average case and the randomized thing in the next class. But before that, I will expect you guys to go and read the notes that I will upload it, that will upload there. Also, the last thing that I want to say is that both this merge sort and quick sort have a special property, right? You see this connection, right? Both of them are kind of splitting up this whole problem into 2 parts and saying that, okay, yeah, I have split up into 2 parts. Someone go and do this first part, somebody else go and do the second part, and then I will somehow merge it or something like that, right? So this kind of a problem where you tend to split up the problem into smaller chunks. So split up into smaller size inputs. So this is a very old technique that is used and is very useful technique, and this is what is called as the divide and conquer rule. And conquer algorithm. So this is not a one single algorithm, this is an algorithmic technique. So in some sense, merge sort and quick sort are two of them that are in this particular genre of algorithm. We will be spending some more time on this divide and conquer algorithm at some point of time, but I thought that it is important for me to tell you at this point that these are a good example of a divide and conquer algorithm. Okay. So any questions? Hello, any questions? Okay. Wonderful. So if there's no questions, then let me ask you one more question. And this is something important. It's kind of a poll kind of stuff like that. How many of you have done data structure courses? Can you quickly send me, have a hand, raise your hand or something like that in that thing? How many of you have done data structure course? One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, and in this class only 6 of you. So all of you are basically MTech CS students, is it? Or there are some MTech CRS students also?
Yes,
Was
sir,
there
CRS also.
CRS also you did data structure? Okay. So okay, now the next question.
Yes.
You can put your hands down possibly. Have you done heaps?
Hello.
Heap.
Yes,
Have
sir.
you done the concept of heap?
Yes, sir.
There's only one. Any other people? Nobody else have done heap. So in the last data structure course that was happened, there was no heap. Yeah.
In MTech CS, we are done heap.
Heaps.
Yeah, heaps.
Sir, in MTech CS, we are done heaps.
MTech CS you have done heaps. MTech CRS, so you guys don't have the compulsory data structure course last semester, is it?
Yes, sir.
There was a compulsory data structure course or no?
No.
There was no compulsory data structure course. Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, fine. Okay, this is only for my next class stuff. Okay, good. So I think I understood this one. So let me just stop now. If you have any questions, let me know. Else I will stop the class right now. So I ask you to go and think about two particular aspects. Number one is, why can't average case, why can't the best average case time complexity of algorithm, be lower than n log n? So prove that for any sorting algorithm, the average case time complexity has to be omega n log n. That is the first question. Second question is, think about this quick sort and try to prove or read, or I'll give you the links, and try to understand why the average case of this particular algorithm is order n log n. And if you are struggling with any of these aspects or the thing that has been done so far, say the quick sort or the stuff, so please let us know. Of course, there are the tutorials which you guys can come and discuss physically, that might be useful. And yeah. So any questions? Okay, good. So let me just stop the class now. Bye.
Thank you, sir.